people.
Adults.
Get to do something fun. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Alrighty, so we are Women's Dance, and today we wanted to introduce you guys to all of us and what we bring to the table. And just give a little introduction of who we all are, ask some questions, have some fun, a little bit of a release from the last one because we talked a lot about mental health, and shout out to Kayla. And so this is going to give the opportunity for us to have the soapbox to ourselves and just talk about you, baby, right? So who wants to start us off?
I think Victoria should go.
Oh, she just got voluntold.
I like listening to her. All right, so I'm Victoria, born and raised Akwesasne, Wolf Clan, and a little bit about me. I don't even know where to start. Like, it's so hard to kind of just talk about yourself and what you can bring to the table. But I am stepmother to 8 children, with 4 of them being 2 sets of twins. And then there's my fiance, Will. And so we're a big, giant family of 10 of us, and it's crazy, and sometimes it's stressful just because parenting for 8 children, and there's such a big age range, 4 to 15.
Wow.
So, and then 4 of them with 2 like being the same ages. So, and then I also work full time, 40 hours a week. And then, so it's like work, getting everybody ready for school, summer school, and then coordinating with like after school programs and who's going to be home to get kids off the bus. But we do have a great support system. Like my parents, they jump in, like they are almost like our kids' second parents, just because they're so involved. They love all the children. Like most families in the community. And then my sister, she is like a second mom as well. She jumped in with all 8 of the kids and loves every single one of them.
Love you, Vanna.
Yes. And then, I mean, talking about myself, what I bring to the community, what I bring to my family, I would say is just strength and the capability to listen, and like that empathy, because like at work I talk to people constantly all day on the phone, and they just kind of spill problems. Like, I don't ask, I just sit there and I listen. And it's like, well, I'm sorry to put this on you, but blah, 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 blah. And it's no issues. I sit there and I listen. And because most people need that. They just need the support of somebody sitting and listening without judgment, without, without judgment, and just being a set of ears and a body, even if it's a stranger. And then, so I would say there's strength, the empathy, being a good listener, and just kind of being a strong Ongwahua woman as much as I can. Sometimes I don't think I am, probably like most people do or don't, but I like to think that I'm one strong-ass woman.
I believe it.
I know. I wouldn't doubt that for a second, especially at 8 kids. So when we met last time, you had mentioned that you had a new hobby with plants, and you also started learning more about crystals. Tell us more about that, because these are the things that makes up Victoria. right? Like, you're a mom and you're a wife and you have the job. And
Yes.
But we want to know about Victoria. What are your passions? Tell us about you.
So with the plants, I had never been into plants. I even had a bamboo. And you can't fucking kill a bamboo because they just need water and leave them for like a year. But I killed one. So that was years and years ago. And with the pandemic, I was gifted a snake plant. Actually, before the pandemic. Because I had gifted somebody chaga. So, like our ways, with medicine, it's a barter. So I was gifted a snake plant. And I learned about the plant. I learned when to water it, like how to make it grow. I'm like, holy shit, I really like plants. So then I was collecting babies from people, the clippings. And then that's how it just started. By getting the clippings, seeing them grow, what type of light they need, how much water, like all of that. So it's been about since the pandemic. And then for the crystals, that was just, I don't even know. I think the pandemic as well, it became more prevalent with like the virtual, the live parties. So that's how that happened. And then now I've become obsessed. And I want to try to collect almost every one that I can.
Holy heck.
I know. I have a pretty extensive collection. It's like a couple, maybe $1,000 or $1.
Wow.
Like, it's a lot of money that I spent on them.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you ever dig up your own? Do you ever go, like, travel to go dig up your own crystals?
No, I haven't.
Road trip.
I know, we should. That'd be so much fun.
And my sister and her family, that's what they do. They go when they travel and they dig them up. And I was asking her, I said, well, when you take them from the earth, do you give an offering just like you would a plant? She's like, oh, that's a really good idea. We should start doing that. And I was like, I wonder if other people do that. Like, instead of buying them from a store, and if you're taking like a nice rock or you're taking something that you're going to pray with, would you give an offering just like you would a medicine? And it's just a food for thought. I was just thinking that would be a nice thing to do, because it's going to be giving something back to you when you use it, and it's going to be giving you healing properties. So,
Wow, yeah. I never even thought of that.
Yeah. Neither did I. It was just a random fleeting thought about crystals.
That's a good, I like that too. My thing, when you talked about your plants last time, I was like, she never owned plants before. I am the same person. Like, I will kill a bamboo. And I love greenery, and it's so good for the air, and it's so good, purifying and things like that. And when you bring it into your home, it does so much more benefits for your family and the air that you're breathing in 24/7, right? So I'm always like, I need more plants in my house. I need more plants in my house. And then you're talking about that, and I was literally laying in the pool, just floating around, and my husband's like playing with the kids, and I'm like, dude, guess what? And I was like, Victoria was talking about all the plants that she's been learning how to take care of and whatever. And he's like, did you learn anything? And I'm like, all the things that you brought up, like about the different plants and the different soil and then the different sunlight and all this and that. And he's like, and you just stick them anywheres and you just water them when, I think I should put some water in there, even if it doesn't need water. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I need to pick Victoria's brain a little bit more often.
We should, sorry to cut you off. I just discovered there's an awesome greenery, like kind of out by Potsdam. They have so much houseplants, like outdoor plants. We could all go take a trip before like the cold season starts. Me and my sister, we took the smallest twins there. They had a blast because it's beautiful. Like, they have an awesome greenhouse and it's just covered in hanging plants. And then they have a huge selection of like succulents and houseplants. It was amazing.
That's cool. I'd be interested in that.
Yes.
Anything to teach me about that.
It was just so much fun.
Cool.
And there was like bees and butterflies everywhere. It was so pretty.
You said that's in Potsdam.
It's kind of like on the way there.
Interesting.
It's like a half hour away.
Nice.
And then another thing that I've recently been doing is learning about my own intuition. Like when we were out in the kitchen area, I had discovered on Instagram and TikTok this seer. Like I've always been into seers, just not for like predicting the future or anything. And this one, he specializes in your intuition, what you have and how to develop that stuff. And I had a Zoom meeting with him. It was all virtual. And he was able to tell me the color of my aura, my soul skin color, which I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a soul skin color. He explained it as like everybody has their aura. That is what surrounds their body. And then the soul skin is, if you were to die and say you got reincarnated as like an animal, a tree, that would be your color still. And so he told me that mine was blue, and he told me the meanings behind it. And then he kind of gave me homework of how to better connect with people and to like set the boundaries with people. And then what he told me to do was an energetic resume. So he's like, write this on a piece of paper, a piece of cardstock, put it on your nightstand, and read it before bed every night. And then you'll get to a point where you don't even have to look at what you wrote. You'll just say it. And then because you're kind of like the strongest in alpha, like right as you're falling asleep and during sleep, so then it carries into the next day. So that way you're like already set up for the day. That way you don't have to, I don't know, it's kind of like, I guess it's almost like a protection for yourself. So that way you don't take in people's energies. You already have that boundary set for when you wake up and put your feet on the floor. So I've been doing it, and I've been practicing it. Because I talk to a lot of people. I see a lot of people every day. I talk to them on the phone. And it has been amazing. I've been telling people no. I've been like, I'm sorry, I can't help you, basically. But if I don't know the answer, I will get it for you. And then even with my home life, like the kids kind of can sense it. I've been voicing to my family, not like in a yelling way or anything, but just to put my boundary for my family as well. Like it has been really amazing.
Wow, that's cool, because a lot of times we need to we can talk about it for everybody else, but do we do it for ourselves? That's a really great observation that you were able to come across. You should totally share that guy's info.
I totally will.
Drop that knowledge. No, I think setting healthy boundaries and intentions on a daily basis is so important, and you can feel that energy, you know, when you walk into a space, and my sister always tells me, like, you have to bubble up when you go into places, and you have that option, right? Like, and when I used to teach and present to kids in schools, I used to think of it like ribbons, right? Like ribbon shirts, like you wear those ribbons and you connect to people. And when you come into a room, you're connecting all these ribbons to all these people. And when you leave, you disconnect those ribbons and you say, I'm not going to carry that energy, because as soon as you get into that space, you have an option as to whether or not that person's in a bad mood, or they're angry, or or they're having a really bad day, And you can carry that energy with you the rest of the day and then bring that home with you and take that negativity out on your children or out on your partner or however that may be. So some people say bubble up, other people say cut your ribbons. And that's really being intentional about how you set those healthy boundaries, how you create those intentions, and how you disconnect your energy. So I think that nightly practice is really resetting every single day and subconsciously planting those seeds so that the next day you're like, okay, in the morning, like I'm going to go into this day asserting myself and those boundaries that I've planted so that every single interaction I'm going to be making sure that it's a healthy one, and I can make that decision for every single one, and it's beneficial, and I think people aren't that mindful, and with social media you're interacting with thousands of people daily, and you just really don't know how to set those boundaries, and you have to do it subconsciously. So I think doing it at night while you're sleeping is a really good way to do it.
Yeah, I would have never even thought of that either.
No.
That was really cool. I like that. That's awesome. Yeah. Good tip. Good idea. Anything else that you want to share with our listeners and anything? The floor is yours, babe.
Right now, no. I can't think of anything else. Pass it on to somebody else, I guess.
Oh, that's Mike. But now for sharing all of that. Appreciate all your awesome knowledge, and I really appreciate the plant knowledge. Just saying. And I'm gonna take you up on that Potsdam offer. Okay. Anybody want to go next? Okay, I will.
Radio silent. We all go silent.
Okay, I will. So, my name is Alicia Hearn, and I've been in Akwesasne my whole life. I'm Turtle Clan. Married for, holy heck, 18 years almost. And I have 5 children at home. And for me personally, I am all about women's health, women's sexual wellness and health like that, because in 2010, I had a party where we sat in the home and a lady came in and talked about bedroom accessories, lingerie, and all of that fun stuff. And I was like, oh, this is cool, right? So I took that on as my job, and I started doing that myself. And then over the years, I started to see, in Indian country especially, how taboo sex talk is, and how we are so quick to discredit or shut down anything that has to do with our body parts. And I was like, why? So I took it upon myself to start digging more and more and more to find out more. Why do we think this way? Why do we talk this way? And raising small children at the time, I didn't want them to have those same ideals. So what really fueled me in what I'm doing is, how would I want my children to be taught about bodies, and how would I want to have things normalized when it comes to sex talk, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And what would I want my children's brains to be filled with, right? And I just keep focusing on that. And so it just keeps pushing me more and more and more in depth. And I'm taking courses with Indiana University to get more information, to have that sexual wellness. I'm going to be a sexual wellness expert. Because I just want to just tear down these taboo cultural expectations that we have. And every single person that I've come across has so many similar issues when it comes to their bodies, when it comes to sex, when it comes to relationships with themselves and their partners. And I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this more. this needs to be brought to the table more, because intimacy with ourselves, and intimacy is not just about sex, but intimacy with ourselves is a really huge hurdle to overcome, which then blossoms into so much more in our lives versus just being the sexual side of it, right? We learn how to communicate. We learn to set those boundaries. We learn to, love ourselves for ourselves, and just that. And then we learn how to be more compassionate. Be more compassionate and loving towards one another, because we love ourselves, right? And so this is my spiel. Like, I'm just like, y'all need to just have more orgasms. Let's just love ourselves and love one another. There's nothing wrong with that. And so I do a lot of teachings with bedroom accessories and wellness products to just help women to just de-stress in all the things that we carry throughout our day. We're moms, we're wives, we work 9-to-5 jobs, we are fur moms, like we have the animals and things like that, right? And we have so much on our plate, and women over the years have had these, expectations that we're supposed to carry all of the stuff, and then we forget about ourselves. And then when we try to take care of ourselves, we become the selfish person, and it's like, what? No, it's backwards. It's all backwards. So I'm just here to be like, nah, you can rub one out. It's fine. But there's so much more that the sexual health and wellness encompasses, right? And the fact that women don't get enough support and research when it comes to the issues that women deal with, right? If a man has ED, and I'm not slandering men whatsoever, I love the men just as much as I love the women, but when a man goes to his doctor and he's got an issue with something, ED or something like that, there's so many different remedies. There's pills and all kinds of things for him. But a woman comes along and she's got a low libido, and then they just want to be like, I guess you're SOL. You can either have this really harsh pill to take, or we can do something really invasive and get in there and start doing some surgery. And it's like, whoa, that's it? That's all you can offer me? Like, come on, right? So I'm just like, what else is there for us? Give us something else. And I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I really could, because there's so much. The umbrella is huge when it comes to all of these things. But this is just a little tip of the iceberg that I have and that I wanted to share with everybody. I am the pleasure doula, and I am all about retraining our brains that it's okay to be sexual and sensual. And that's me. I'm just here to educate and empower. And that's all I got. Any questions?
What's been a common thing that you've seen, Allie, as you're like, having these parties or these gatherings with women? Like, what's a real common, like, what do you think women shy away from, or what's been like a real common thread? And even in the laughter or the nervousness that comes out, or like, like what actually comes out when sex is on the table and you have a bunch of women in the room? Like,
I find the body image is a big damper, right? Like, we struggle with body image, and you could be a 0 and you could be a 22. Everybody's got those issues right across the board. So lingerie, as soon as I want to talk about lingerie and how good it feels on our skin, right away, I ain't gonna fit in that. I hear it all the time, right? And then another thing is like, shut the lights off. Shut the lights off when we do it. Mm-hmm. Like, don't look at me. And those are the things that I want to like just tear away. Like stop. Who cares about your stretch marks? Who cares about your rolls and all of these dimples and whatever? That's what makes each individual person beautiful in their own space. And if you feel that way about yourself and your partner is encouraging that, you need a partner. No. Come and see me. Let me talk to you. No, but it's a big deal for us to give ourselves the permission to be sexual and sensual with ourselves. And that's where it starts, right there. And that's like across the board. Every time I have a party, anytime I have conversations with women, that's the first thing. And so they're just like, I'll just get these lotions and I'm gonna go. And I'm like, really? Really? Let's talk. And then I'll talk some more with somebody and I'll talk deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's what it comes down to. And it's totally normal. It's totally normal to feel that way about ourselves. Look at the cultural norms that we're surrounded by. Right? Like, we're supposed to look like this. Even with my Snapchat filters, I don't look like that. So yeah, that's a really good question though.
Do you see that there's a difference between age groups? Like the different generations with body image?
So I find that, because I only work with mainly women 18 and older, right? If I have anybody under 18, that's part of my doula work, where I'm going to talk to women with they're starting their menstruation and stuff like that, right? So I find when I'm doing like my parties and that, the women that are between 18 and I want to say 25, 27, they're really open. They're like a whole nother generation. I'm like, oh, I love you guys. Let's talk, right? And then anywhere from like 27 to like maybe 45, they're the generation that's really like closed right off, and like I'm like chiseling. And then anybody 50 and older, holy heck, they're the other generation that's just like that Woodstock generation. That's what I think of it anyways. But they're free too. And I love it when I have older women in my parties, because they'll reiterate everything I say, and they're like, yup, she's right, yup, that's exactly true, yup, you ladies need to listen to her, yup, that's exactly, you know what I mean? And like the importance of lubricant and how it's overlooked and the stigma behind lubricant, and automatically women are like, oh, well, that's only when you're dry, and you get dry when you're older. Well, there's a whole other reason behind dryness and things like that, right? Like, let's talk about these things. Let's normalize using lubricant. Let's make lubricant an everyday thing. You moisturize your face. Why aren't you moisturizing your vagina? So I that's a good question too, because I've said it to a few of my other colleagues too, like, I really like partying with the older ladies, because man, they are fun. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I see anyways on my end.
I think there was, when I used to do HIV/AIDS education, I used to give out vibrators too. And a lot of the women would say, well, no, I have a husband. Mm-hmm. And he's going to get mad if I bring that in, like he's not enough. Mm-hmm. How would you give advice to partners about bringing those kinds of things into their home and easing their partners into using them?
Well, I would always start with something like, I like to use the word core play. I don't like to use the word foreplay. Core play is like the core of it all, and most women need 20 minutes of that time in order to reach their orgasm, in order to feel free and ready to go. So I would start with like the core play stuff, massage, flavored products, enhancement, stuff like that, because he's dealing with an insecurity that has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm selling. Mm-hmm. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form a professional. I'm not in any way, shape, or form a doctor. I can't treat anything. But I would always, without being finger pointing or putting anybody down, because I never want to do that, but you kind of need to ease your way into that. And there's a whole big learning curve for me when it comes to that, because it's big. It's a big topic. But so I like to focus around that part, right? Like the core play side of it. And then I like to ask if I can have the moment to talk with the couple. I always like to ask, what is it about these things here? If you don't mind me asking, what is it about these things that you don't like? Because I never, my intentions is never to replace anybody's partner. I'm just simply here to teach about enhancements. That's it. Mm-hmm. And the more you enhance, the deeper the connection. The deeper the connection, the better the intimacy, the better the conversation. I am here to make women, to help women, single women feel safe, and married women married. And that's it, right? So I'm not here to this toy is gonna be better than your man. That's a big no. But I'm here to tell you that this is a lot of fun with your man. And it does work. Like after a while, I'll have conversations with these fellas, and they start to like, oh, okay, I see. And I don't ever talk about my products in a derogatory way towards a man, to ever cut down a man, because I would never want somebody to do that to me or other women. Right? So I never talk about what I have to offer, that this is the all and be all and see you later, mister. You know what I mean? Like, it takes two to tango, so let's keep people together.
Yeah, I think in my line of work, it was one-on-one, so you wouldn't be bringing in a partner, and it was just something that we offered on top of like giving them condoms and lube and the assessment and a $20 gift card. But at the time when I was doing that work, it would have been helpful if we could have talked to the partner, because there's a lot of stigma around that, and they feel very threatened, and it's not healthy but that intimacy and putting it in that term, that's so healthy, and I wish more people would have those conversations about what that looks like, because I don't think there's a lot of young people that are in long-term relationships. I mean, there's a lot of young people, even in high school, that are having intimate relationships, that they're not having those conversations about what it takes to have good, healthy sexual relationships. And I think that terminology would be so helpful for a lot of people in community that aren't having good sex, like they're not doing that, or they can't even say vagina. Like, they're so awkward. They're like, we were saying that on the first podcast, like they can't say penis and vagina, and they're like, Sarah said that. I'm like, well, that's what I call that, because that's what it is, and that's what it's going to be. I'm not going to say slang terms, because I'm not uncomfortable with that, and we're going to have that conversation. And communication is key to any kind of healthy relationship, and safe or unsafe, we need to make sure we're having that communication. So I'm glad that you're doing that, because a lot of people have your parties everywhere. You're very popular. So it's good stuff.
I really didn't get into this with the intentions of making it my career. I really didn't. I was just like, side hustle. Let's have some fun. And then to see the dire need that's out there for women to feel comfortable, and to also be given the permission, and in the beginning, my husband wasn't on board, and to be honest, I didn't even have any personal accessories for maybe a year or two into the business. And he was like, this makes me feel inadequate. Like, this makes me feel like, what do you need me for? And I'm like, I need babies. No. Hello, procreation. No, just kidding. But he didn't talk about it for a while. And then when he finally did bring it to the table and we had the discussions, I was like, well, I don't want to do this business anymore if it's going to affect you. And he's like, no, let's work through it. Let's work through it and see what happens. And as we get, over the years, keep talking more and more and more, now he becomes somebody that men can go to. Like, how do you feel with your woman doing this stuff? Like, you all right with that? And he's like, But it's brought our communication and our intimacy level to a whole nother peak that we've never even imagined, right? Because the communication and the usage, the proper usage of vocabulary between two people makes a world of a difference. And if you can't have that, then you got to come back and have that with yourself first. So,
you know what's funny is it was either 2004 or 2005. I went to a party, and then I paid for like a whole package to be a hostess. And then I got into an argument with my partner shortly after that and got a full refund on like $1,500 starter package from the woman. I had to like meet her. It was really embarrassing. I'm not with that partner anymore, but it was like, I was like, well, what is this going to do to my career? What is the stigma? Like, because I was really comfortable talking about it, and it was so fun, and it was something that it was like, this is my wheelhouse. I love talking about sex ed. Like, this is something that I'm comfortable with, and I could love seeing the women's faces light up and feel so empowered. And it was such a beautiful thing for me to watch while I was at the party, and I was like, I could do this. I could sell this, I could do it, and then I paid for it all, and then I ended up returning it. And I'm like, thinking about it, I'm like, you know, when I saw the work that you've done and how you're taking it to this level, it just makes me so proud that you're doing it, because it needs to be done. It's so healthy and such a beautiful way that I've never seen anybody else do it in this way, and it's just amazing to me.
Yeah.
So you're a boss.
Awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Shoot, there was something I was gonna say to what you were just talking about, and I lost it because you just flattered me. But maybe it'll come back.
I totally forgot about that. I'm like, oh man, like I was gonna do that and I didn't, and I mean, that's so funny. How the decisions and the things that happen.
Right.
But yeah, we had a big fight. Like it was.
Yeah, and it's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, like in the beginning, he wasn't on board, but now he's like, wait, you can make how much money? Yes, I am totally on board. No, just kidding. But no, not really. So that's my spiel. I don't want to take up everybody's time, so who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I think we'll keep Sarah. We'll have Sarah anchor us down, and I'm like just really appreciating all your stories and like finding myself in them, and listening to you, you know, connecting. And I was like sitting here and I was like, wow, like it's really nice to be here with you. And I just want you to know that. Like, I know that, like, none of us really, like, hang out outside of this podcast, particularly, you know, I'm speaking for myself, maybe you hang out, but, like, it's really nice to just jump in at a table with some women in the community and just be ourselves, you know. So, with that, you know, my English name is Janelle Bove. I'm Wolf Clan here in Akwesasne. My Mohawk name is Gainahawis, which means she carries many paths. And I feel my name today, you know. So it's been interesting. I really like the stimulation that you both brought in, both life-giving, right? That's all life-giving energy. The plants, you know, the gems in the ground, the intimacy, the connection, the sexuality. It's the stimulation. The arousal.
Favorite word.
Yeah, like my nipples are hard. I don't know if yours are, Allie, but
It's all about the nipples.
yeah, I'm always about the nipples. I'll be a nipple advocate till I don't got any anymore. But so yeah, I guess you know, I just really appreciate the opportunity, and I think there's been a lot of things about me that have died. And not even, like, there's just been a lot of times about, like, physically living, but, like, a spiritual death, a mental death, an emotional death. And in the process of living this life and certain parts of you dying, right, it's been a lot for me to find my footing and all of that. And then also it's really evident to me today that I've really built an identity around the issues that our people face, and I really got enthralled in it, like most of you. You know, I heard one time that, you know, you choose it, but I think it kind of chooses you too. And so I just had a lot of opportunity to sit in spaces with people who are in a lot of pain. And I think after a while that did a whole lot to me. Like, I don't think you could go through that process and not come back out like not the same. Mm-hmm. And there was these beliefs in it in the process. Like there was these beliefs that I had about like saving people. There was these beliefs that I had that I could, like, you know, really change something. I had these beliefs that I felt guilty if I didn't show up. I felt responsible for people, and I was really like lonely. I'm always pretty like kind of like lonely, like alone, and which is really probably interesting to a lot of people because like I'm very socially inclined. I love the room. I love working the room. I love like interacting with people. Like that's my grind. Like people are my thing. I love people. Like our people, all people. Like I love them. And I guess where things got kind of like, I can see now listening to you, Allie, like taking in all the sexual harm, past and present, every day, all day, for years, work, and then like being in a lot of places where there was a lot of sexual harm. I didn't want anything to do with a sexual party. Like everything in my mind brought up 100 different horrific situations of 100 different people that like, and the next you're entwined and everybody's conflict, you're entwined in everybody's projections of who you should be now that, or who you need to be to them or all of that. And I didn't really like know what to do with all that, but I found my way. I found a way. And it affected my relationships. A lot of my personal relationships fail because I can't keep them alive. I don't have the energy to water them. I don't have the energy to like nothing. So any friend that I have left is pretty much one that's just been like, you know what? I know not hearing from her is not personal and that she's just struggling. And I've been struggling. And sometimes like your struggle with that is just, my struggle has not been prioritized with myself, because it's hard when someone reaches out and they're like, I need you, like, and it's serious, and you put everything down and you go and it works out and it's good and they get the help that you need, but then like like you mentioned earlier, there's nobody there to catch you, like who's catching the advocates, who's catching the people providing the service, who's catching the first responders, because like it's it's just a hard place to be sometimes. And then I think there's this assumption maybe that I've made or created for myself, but like all the things that I'm helping with, I don't have either. All the things that I'm addressing, I'm a victim of, I'm a survivor of. Like there's not one thing that I'm not doing that I'm not directly or indirectly impacted by. And so like I really wanted to stop showing up like I'm Superwoman or like I got it, or there's this projection of me and maybe I created it, or maybe I was trying to live up to everybody's expectations or presumptions or something. But what was really great about all of this was connecting with people in a way that like changes your life. Like it changes everything. But I had to figure out what to do with all that, because I wouldn't let my partner touch me. Don't touch me. I'm like drowning in rape and violence and all these things. I don't want to get better at it. I don't want to know anymore about like too much. And then I had to find my sexuality again, right? I had to find some kind of way to have excitement. I had to find a way to get out of all the depressing things. I found that I only knew how to talk about deep things. I couldn't even have a surface level conversation because it's not in my day. Every meeting I'm in, every conversation, what's the injustices of the indigenous people? What's the historical impact? What's the trauma-informed care? What's the plan? What's the protocol? What's the cultural sentiment? Like, there is so much thinking that goes into the mindset of like trying to provide a good, healthy, authentic service, and then you can easily get lost in it. I'm probably still lost in it, to be honest with you. But I'm not here to, like, I never wanted to come off like I feel victimized by helping people. Even though I feel victimized by helping people. because it's hard when you're helping people and then they turn on you. It's hard when like you're dealing with people who have a lot of trauma and they shift that trauma and all of a sudden you're the enemy now. You know, or you know something personal about me, so I know you're treating me some kind of way, or I know that you know what he said to you, and now I'm not gonna talk, and I'm gonna unfriend you, and I'm like, I don't even like, you know, I'm all entwined in stuff that doesn't belong to me, that I'm not even trying to pick up. I'm getting it from every angle, and I'm trying to do is help people, and people will find a way to like demonize you or like come after you or attack you, and there's so many times like where I've felt like I didn't have like the support I needed, and I took it. I've been attacked publicly, privately, and I just took it. I just took it, and it hurts when you just take it, and I don't want to take it anymore. And I don't want to show up like I'm not human, or that like I don't have kids at home, or like I don't have like relationship issues, or like I'm not trying to like set myself up for failure, because like I know that I'm a human being made to make mistakes, and I'm okay with that today, and I'm okay with owning them, and I'm okay with being responsible. But I'm like overly independent, like to the point where like I won't even probably let you be there for me if you wanted to, because I don't rely on people like that. And that's just where I've arrived at, and I'm owning it, and I'm being public about it, and I'm not trying to like come off like it's just that there was never really I never created a time for me to authentically show up, because everybody else's pain was more important than mine. And all of those deep-rooted things. So, you know, the last conversation that we had, I was able to share with you, I went to Sundance, and I went out there, and I go there to die. I know that. I go there, it's hard, it's difficult, it hurts, you just like, it's difficult. And I went out there, and you know what happened is there was this root. There was this big fat root inside of me, a rooted belief that I deserve to suffer. That the only way I could have value is if I suffered. And that part of me died. And like every day now, if I start to have thoughts that aren't of my highest good, I say, hey, Janelle, we died a couple weeks ago, remember? We're not going to suffer anymore. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. We're not going to project. We're not going to think about other people. Like, we're not going to do all that. Like, we chose not to suffer anymore, remember? And I thought, wow, you know, I'm in agreement with that today, because I feel like I've been used. I feel like I've been used sometimes. I feel like I've been extorted. I feel like I've been a pro. I feel like I've just let people like do whatever they wanted with me, and then they go. And I'm left there feeling like, did I not do enough? And that was all rooted in the belief. And so, you know, I just wanted to like, I don't have like, no, this is me, just being me in this moment. I'm not worried about anything like that, but I just wanted to like really own the fact that like this was really about, you know, wanting to be a better mother. Because like I think it's really hard for kids that have mothers that are in the community, because like I've left them, they've had to figure a lot of things out because I wasn't home, but I'm the only one working, I'm the one like providing, I'm the one taking care of everything, and so boom, there's more guilt, right? More guilt. I fail here, guilt, I fail there, guilt, you know, and there's all this pressure, constant pressure, and so, you know, I'm here to say that I'm a diamond. Mm-hmm. I'm a diamond, and I'm here with the Ganyankahaga people because they are crystal. We are crystal people, flint. is a crystal. And I feel like the origins of my intuition and my celestial spirit is bigger than all of that. And before I go to bed, I actually put down all the titles. You're not a mom, you're not a this, you're not a woman, I'm just light, I'm just energy. I don't have to carry any of those things, all the trauma, I'm just light, love, and truth. Light, love, and truth. That's all I am. And it helps. It helps so much. So I just, I do a lot of work, around justice and things like that. And I just really like to, I really like to fight. I really like to fight for our people. I really like to buckle down. I like to get dirty. I like to do the work. I like to go extra hard. I like to go all the way 150 miles, hit the wall, turn around, come back, do it. I can do all that. But it's a little bit violent. There's nothing gentle about any of that. So I'm really walking into a space where I want to be more gentle with myself, and I want time with me. I want to pour all that love, all that good love. It's genuine, If there's anybody on this call or on this talk that I've ever had to have a deep mutual conversation with, I just want to let you know, that's exactly what it was. It was all real. It was all transparent. It was all genuine. It was real. And I appreciate real moments with people. And so that's just kind of how I am. And I know it's when you're different like that, it's easier for people to point you out or to make a spectacle of yourself because you put yourself at the front of the room, and sometimes it's hard, and it's as hard as you think it is, but it's even more rewarding when you feel powerful. And I feel my power, and I feel like I'm doing a better job with myself. And I don't really have people around me like that. Whatever real relationship I have, they're mostly working relationships. And I find my family in my work. And there's nothing wrong with that, it's very fulfilling. But I heard today in my therapy session that a lot of my loneliness was because I didn't have a place to put my love. There's ways that I want to love and I can't. And it makes me feel alone, And so I'm working on that. And I just really want to be a little bit more real. And so I'm not afraid anymore like that. It doesn't control me like that. It's the death of your ego is really important, and it also leaves you wide fucking open. The thing that I used to protect myself is gone. And so I have to find a healthier way, and it's working and it's there. And so, I just wanted to, come in and thank you for, you know what I mean? Just creating space for me, and I'm real happy to be here with you like that, and to have an opportunity to share and just, be a contribution in another way. To me, these conversations are really in my experience with people. These conversations are gold. They're pure gold because we just don't hear them. Mm-hmm. And we're having them, So, with that, I just, there's a lot, but that's good for now. I feel good about that. And, I just wanted to look over at my beautiful sister, Sarah, and, pass the tea.
Pass the tea.
Well, I just wanted to say before you go, that it takes a lot of work It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of courage to own up to that vulnerability and to be so transparent and to be on something like a podcast where it's going to be public and to own up to that and to acknowledge all of that. It's huge, and it gives our listeners and even us in this room the opportunity, the permission, the normalcy of all the things that's engulfing everything that you had just said, because everybody that's listening is going to pick a little bit from you and be like, yeah, oh my God, she hit the nail right on the head. That's exactly what I get. That's exactly what I'm feeling. And so it gives them a sense of like, oh shit, I'm not alone, right? And we did talk about that last time, about feeling alone and feeling lonely, and to just open it ourselves up to show people that they're not alone, and there's always a safe space, and there's always people sitting at the table having drinks together, or their 3TKs or their Starbucks coffees and whatever, to have these conversations, but to just like normalize it, right? And to just keep opening that vulnerability, because ego makes us feel like we can't, and like you said, that's the protection from what? Right? Life hurts. It's gonna hurt. People are gonna hurt us, and we're gonna hurt ourselves. But there's so much love and care and compassion with letting the ego go and having that vulnerable space, right? And then you have deeper connections and stronger conversations and higher perspectives that comes along with opening up that vulnerability. So I really applaud you for taking this stand and opening up like this, and you chose us to open up to. So now for that.
Thank you, Ali. I appreciate you.
Well, I just want to say, well, Ali hit it on the head. But the way you get your energy back is by saying no. Every time you say no to somebody, it starts in your toes and it just slowly starts filling. And it keeps filling every time you say no, if it's to a coworker, to a spouse, to your children, to whoever. As long as you say no, like I said, it's just going to keep filling from your toes all the way up to the top of your head, all the way down to your fingertips. And then you get stronger. And then those boundaries get set. And then everybody, you teach them how to interact with you by saying no.
Yeah.
Because that boundary, you set it. And this is for all the listeners as well. Because we're kind of taught from kids to listen, to comply. And then you become a teenager and you become rebellious. And then that can, but it can turn into having not being informed of consent. And then because you don't know how to say no. So rape can happen or some type of abuse. And then into the adulthood, still not saying no leads to hurt. And then you give something to that person, they don't return it back.
Yeah.
So every time that you physically say no to somebody, you just make yourself more full because that boundary is set. And that's something that I'm learning to do as well, with my intuition, with where I'm going. So it feels weird. It's like you said, you feel guilty that there's like, I feel like I need to help. But if you physically can't because you have nothing to give, then it's just, you're going to keep getting smaller and smaller. So, no.
Is this where I practice? No.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome.
So, take the stage, Sarah. Just kidding.
So I'm Sarah Rourke. I'm a doctor. My Ganyakeha name is Kumuhahawi, which means they gave her the road. I'm state road for life. If you don't know, now you know. My name means they gave her the road. I think I said that already. I have a 3-year-old named Deawila Denyas, and my husband is a Dua. We've been together 15 years. We've been married 8-ish. I wear so many hats. I was just thinking about everything that you just said, and it my downfall is how I became a doctor. And hear me out. I just did my dissertation, my research on Akwesasne aunties, and the ethnographic journey of decolonial healing. And I interviewed aunties in Akwesasne and the impact of colonialism and the colonial mindset on their journeys and what that looks like for them. And I say them because not all of the aunties were women. And when I interviewed these aunties, it was really important to talk to them about the expectations, the burdens, and the weight that they carry in community, and how harmful it can be for the hypervigilance of carrying ceremony, language, child rearing, community events, fundraising, all of those expectations that community has on aunties, but also working full-time, taking care of the elderly, doing whatever it is that an auntie does, but also standing on the front lines to fight for social justice in a ribbon skirt, all at the same time, while trying to learn your culture, your language, your ceremony, your songs, all of those things, while holding your family together. If you have a family, if you don't have a family, then you get to watch somebody else's kids. And what I found is that many of these aunties felt like they were being groomed by older aunties, or they were saying, well, I had to do it, so now you have to do it. Or others didn't realize they were feeling this weight until they were hit with black holes of depression or other kinds of disparities, whether it was anxiety or just mental health issues, suicide attempts, just Netflixing for days and not leaving their homes, overeating, like just a lot of different maladies. It was just really heavy for them before they realized that they had to take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. And the reason that I decided to do this research is because I'm an auntie, and I wanted to see if I was the only one, because I've done a lot of work in my lifetime, and I love my community, and I've gone from being a community educator to a policy analyst to running a cultural center to being on multiple boards and heritage sites and whatever I could do to give back to our people as a Deer Clan woman. I would do that. I would cook the cornbread and the fry bread and bring the fish and do whatever was asked of me. Whenever it was asked of me, I would keep the fires and go and help with the wakes and clean up after the longhouse and do X, Y, and Z. And I think I know I have so much pride in who I am as a Ganungwe. Like I wanted that acceptance. I wanted that position in community where there wasn't a question that I was from here, that I was part of this, that I was that I had that ability, and then I went into working with MMIW, and I worked for the National Inquiry, and I was surrounded by so much trauma, and I heard over 800 family stories, and help them testify about the systemic violence and the genocide of murdered and missing Indigenous women, girls, trans, Two-Spirit. And I set up ceremony across Canada for them so that they could safely tell their stories. And on that road, I was assaulted. And we had security that followed us because we were in like the most dangerous cities in Canada. And I was pregnant like the whole time. Like almost the whole time, and I worked right up until I couldn't fly anymore. So, and I was disconnected from community because I was flying like every other week, or I would come home for a day, do laundry, and fly out the next day on a red eye. So, and it was like, I wanted to give back in any way that I could because I knew that I just wanted to show my love, and I wanted to give back to the youth. I wanted to give back to our elders, and I was burnt out. And when I got back from the inquiry, I was pregnant and I had a baby, and at 9 months I went to grad school. Like, let me get a doctorate. So I think, and then when I finished grad school in February, by that time, recently, I was anemic and I had carpal tunnel, and so then I quit my job and I had surgery, and then I haven't worked since, and I just started a job on Monday. So I'm healing and I'm starting back on boards and working in community now. But it took me, like now, I mean, that's years of like being in community and doing all of that work and doing the research and like being back in community and interviewing those aunties and giving them my tobacco seeds from my tobacco that I grew at my home and giving them that love and that space and sharing in those stories, and losing my Duda along the way, losing really good friends along the way that you think you would never lose, and your heart breaking over and over again at the same time. I think those lessons teach you who the people are going to be that are going to be there, right? And who is going to stand beside you. And aside from that, like what your priorities really are. And I give back to all of the people that gave back to me through those hardest times. Like, I'm back on the board at the library because every time I needed a place to study, they'd clear a table, they'd run and get me resources. They were like, Sarah, what do you need? Brad would like hold my phone because I would like hold my phone because I'm gonna procrastinate, and give it back to me in 2 hours because I have a deadline. And she would hold it for me so that I could type my ass off and get my deadline and meet it. The library had my back. So in my thank you and my dedication for my dissertation, I wrote in there, and like I'm on the board at the traveling college, like any resources, anytime I needed anything, anytime I needed extra money and they needed some consulting, I would do that. Like the traveling college has always been there for me. So like those organizations that have always been there for me, I jump for them. Because they like always come back, you know. And I could read you my resume right now. I dabble in like 10,000 different things, but I think I'm really proud of being a really good mom. Mm-hmm. And my baby is so happy and beautiful. And I had weight loss surgery so I could have her. They told me when I was 29 that I was over 300 pounds. I'm 5'2", so they said, Sarah, if you continue like this, you're gonna die. You're gonna be dead by 35. I said, okay, I'm 29. They're like, you can't have a baby and you're gonna die. I was smoking a pack a day. I was over 300 pounds and I wanted a child, you know, but I'm always been very career driven. So I was like, okay, what do I do? And so I was going to get a lap band. I was going to do X, Y, and Z. And I ended up having a Roux-en-Y and it saved my life. It absolutely saved my life. And I see people out there bashing surgeries and talking shit and saying it's an easy way out. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I tried so many different ways to lose the weight, and I had a gym membership, and I did that every day, and I ate really healthy, and I tried Nutrisystem and Weight Watchers and like all of the ways, you know, and nothing worked. And I think there's a real stigma around actually asking for help, you know, and that's why people just don't tell people. I tell the world, I don't care. I had weight loss surgery and it saved my life. I would have been dead. I wasn't breathing while I was sleeping. I was in pain all the time. I wasn't doing or living to the best of my ability, and now I have a child and I'm alive and I'm 40, you know, like, and I look damn good, like, whatever, you know? So fuck the haters, right? Like, you know, like, I'm proud, you know, like, I got my health back and my life back, so.
You got you back.
Yeah, and I lived to get my degrees. I'm a lifelong nerd, like, so if anybody wants to nerd out with me, that's always fun. I'm all about that. So I don't know, like, I feel like there's women out there that put it all out there for everybody else, and I hear that so much in so many people's stories, and it's about reciprocity, and it's about balance, and it's about what am I going to get back, and where are your priorities. And when you sit there at the end of the night and you pray, or you breathe, or you do yoga, or you just sit in silence and put your damn phone down, which is my worst addiction, right? I need to put my damn phone down. But when I actually center myself and ground myself, what is the most important thing to me? And it's my family. And it's my sisters, it's my parents, it's my daughter, like it's my husband, like, they are the most important things, and then everything else comes secondary. And I think that's what the pandemic has taught us, right? Like, and when you re-examine your friendships, like, who are the people that are there for you? Are they really friends, or are they people that you grew up with along the way, and sometimes you just have to let that fall away, and then the ones that are secondary family, they'll stay, you know, like, and that's important too, because we all grow and change, and I think that's hard too. Nobody tells you how hard it is to mourn friendships. Nobody talks about that, and they need to, because it's fucking heartbreaking. That's real. That's so real. But I started a new job on Monday. I'm now the director of the Indigenous Health Professions program at McGill University, and I'm also a faculty lecturer, and that means that I get to help Indigenous students in the health field, from like social work, nursing, dentistry, any health field, to be placed in internships at Indigenous clinics, but also to help them with like tutoring and different support that they need within the medical school, from undergraduate to graduate, all the way through. And then I get to help with the curriculum of the professors. So that's what the lecturer part is I get to help review the curriculum and then help them with their with how they're interacting with students and ensuring that there's a safe space for them. So I started on Monday, and I'm learning a lot, and I really like the team, and I really think it's a good space for me, so I'm super happy about it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm Professor Rourke at McGill.
That's amazing.
That's pretty sweet, Sarah.
Yeah.
I sit here and I'm just like listening and soaking in everything you guys are saying, and all I can feel is passion. Holy smokes, it's so strong, and I feel like this is what we give to everybody else, right? It's okay to be passionate, and it's okay to just soak it all in and take it all in, because it is what makes who we are, is what our passions are, right? And when we just feel so fiercely inside that it causes emotions, it's just, that's who we are at our core. And it feels good in here. It just feels good. I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling good.
You know, it's healing, and it's like somebody knows somebody who knows somebody in community, you know, like I know people who work at the UN, and I've spoken at the UN like 3 times. So and if you wanted to work with people at X, Y, and Z, I mean, Janelle went to speak with the Pope last week. Like, there's just, like, not to be ridiculous and name drop, but I feel like if you wanted to work in sex ed, that you would be able to, like, connect. Like, I think in our community, we have this beautiful connection to all of this, like, all of these resources, but ultimately it's about that energy that we create together to make things happen. And it's an evolution, right? Like, it's like our ancestors weren't doing that. They were doing big things for sure, like, because they're the founders of this country for real, like, or they wanted to stop the founding of this country, but the ideas of the founding of the country are from our ancestors, so they had big ideas. And I think all of us in our own way keep evolving that, like, one generation after the next, and I feel like that's such a beautiful thing for us to see. And even if you think that you're not doing anything at home, like, you can do those things. Like, it's just, I think it's I don't know, like, I just get really excited about it when I hear what students are doing, and what I hear what youth are doing, and I'm seeing all these posts online of, like, kids going off and getting all these awards and stuff. I get really excited about it because they really are, they're just evolving. It's just beautiful to see.
Yeah.
It is.
Your journey is amazing. Holy man, I bet you can write a book. Are you gonna write a book? You should.
Yeah, I'm gonna write a book.
You should write a book.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list.
Right on.
We should all write a book. You take the first 3 chapters, and we'll take a couple chapters, and we'll
smash it together.
nice slam book.
Holy, way back.
Slam book.
Oh my goodness, that is so, like, so you've mentioned earlier about traveling all over the place, right? And I'm terrified of traveling. Like, I'm just gonna stay in North America.
No,
I don't want to go anywhere, so I'm scared. So what would you tell me?
don't be afraid. Just do it. I mean, I still need a passport, but I went all across Canada, like, left and right and back again. And I've seen I went up to Thompson, Manitoba, and they taught me how to build a teepee, and they picked on me the whole time as a Haudenosaunee woman building a teepee, but they taught me how to do it and what each of the poles meant, and it was freezing, but it was the most beautiful thing that I've ever been through. Like, if you don't go, you don't see it, you don't experience it, and why miss out on the world and life? Like, as soon as my daughter's old enough to travel, she's coming with me, you know, like, as soon as she can, like, do it all, like, she's coming, and I'm not gonna let her miss out. I mean, I was raised traveling. My father was an engineer, so we moved from Utica to Georgia to Florida to Indiana and then back home. So I moved back here when I was 10. So I didn't grow up here. I went to all these different elementary schools, and I met all different kinds of people, and my best friend was Korean growing up. Like, I always knew that there was a bigger world out there before I moved back to the res. So I think that's why when it was time to travel, like my parents always put me in different summer camps growing up. Like they never wanted me to just stay here, and my dad has always traveled like that. So they were just like, go, get out, go do things. Probably because they didn't want me to stay at home. They're like, get out of here. But I just think that kind of planted seeds for us to just be like, all right. And I'm not afraid of traveling ever. Like I travel by myself all the time. And my husband's always like, you're going and I'm nervous. I started smoking cigars again. I'm like, why? Like, I'm gonna fucking go. Like, here I go. Like, I'll tell you when I get there and where I'm staying and here's the address. Like, don't you worry about me. I'm meeting a bunch of Indigenous women when I get down there, usually, you know? So there's a big old world out there that you need to see, and why waste your time just sitting on your ass at home when you can experience the world? Like,
But
seriously.
I like the island. No.
I know, but it's always gonna be here. It's always, and it doesn't change. It's just like Brass Horse. Everybody's still sitting at the bar that was there. You know, like if I walk in, they're all gonna be there. They were all there when I quit drinking. You know, like come on, fuck. I told you I'm punchy today.
That was a good one. The island is not like Brass Horse.
That's not what I meant.
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna have everybody on the island pissed off at me.
Oh man, I love to hear about people's journeys, especially when it can be so expensive like that. Because like I said, like I'm like afraid to do those kinds of things. Traveling. I've had a conversation with one of my doulas before, and when she was 15, she was like all over the world. Yeah. And I was like, why?
Be brave.
But then I'm like, tell me all the stories so I can live vicariously through you. You know, but it does fuel me to give me a little bit of courage. Like, could I leave this country? But I really enjoy this opportunity to have you guys share your journeys and what you guys are bringing to the table, because we don't get enough opportunity to talk about ourselves, and we're scared to talk about ourselves, right? And I remember when I first brought it up, and you were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Why? Why don't I talk about me? And I'm like, I want to know about you guys, and I'm sure the listeners want to know about you guys too. And like, who are you? What do you got? What did you do?
No, I think it's funny because we don't really know each other that well. Like, we don't hang out outside of this room. We really don't. And I think another thing that people need to know that they kind of forget, especially when you're young, is that your mistakes don't define you. Mm-hmm. I am not who I was when I was 25 and under.
Oh God, me either.
I can totally vouch for that.
I don't know who Sarah Hearn is. I don't know that girl.
Like, Allie Benedict, who?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, that was a good one, Sarah. But yeah, does anybody have any questions or anything for Sarah?
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Sarah.
Haha. It's still weird.
Yeah, I just feel like, Sarah was like sitting here, and I remember like when I was first jumping in the ring, you were out there like doing it up in the community, right? Doing your presentations. You were so like the fluidity in your ability to be articulate about HIV and making people feel comfortable visually. It was nice because you were just this beautiful young woman that was coming in and saying, hey, like, I just want you to be safe, and hey, like, it's all right, and hey, like, and we really felt that. And I remember speaking at Salmon River for like and when you brought that up earlier, like brought me all the way back there, and then at the tent, and what I realized is that like when you're younger, you don't think that you're gonna end up raising your families alongside the people that you end up kind of like growing up with. Like we don't end up thinking like that far, and we're not supposed to, right? Because we're not there yet. But what's really interesting, like you're saying, is like we all sprouted at a certain time, and we've come up and we've cultivated ourselves, and yet we're all like at a decent place, you know. We're all like at a place much further than I think we might have thought we would have been at, you know, because when I was younger, if somebody would have said, well, by the time you're 37, you know, yeah, you're gonna have an opportunity to address, you know, colonialism and trauma and all of that, and you know, and I would have been like, whatever, like I'm not gonna live past 25, homie, like I'm trying to kill myself here. You know what I mean? Like I was out to kill myself. I was doing everything to kill myself because I didn't know how to survive. I didn't have the tools, I didn't have the mechanism, I didn't have the support. And like by the grace of some kind of divine phenomenon, you know what I mean? I end up under the right tent, you know, talking to the right people, and someone says, you know what? I see something in you that you don't see in yourself right now, and I just want to support that. And that's literally like what saved my life from myself. Was other people saying like, I see you, Janelle, and I'm like, I don't see me, but that's, you know, that's cool, you know, and just trying to be like real humble about it, you know, because like, you know, it's important to stay balanced like that. And then some of us don't know how to accept compliments. We don't know how to accept that we're doing a good job. Like all I know is that my worth was in how much work I did. My worth was in my work. And because I didn't put my worth anywhere else, when I wasn't working, I was nothing. And so I became this workaholic. So I just like appreciate that today, in spite of whatever backgrounds or all the harm that we received when we were young, there's a really beautiful, matured flower that we've really get to become, and our kids are like, wow, like our moms are like conversating, and they're having the uncomfortable conversations, and they're showing us, you know, and you know, and I just want to acknowledge like Josh in the room real quick too, because you know, like I just, you know, because like you even hosting these podcasts for us, or being around us women while we get to talk and making sure things are okay, and you know, dogs not barking, the kids are, you know what I mean, like I just want to acknowledge you for being in the room right now, because like that's nice. You know, that's nice when we have guys around, like making sure that we can do what we need to do. And, you know, I think you tried to run out of the room a couple of times, but no, I'm just playing with you. But, you know, like, yeah, you're in the room and you're supporting us. And that's also what this room looks like, right? Like we are being supported by a male today in a healthier way. And I think that that's like duly noted, you know. So I just wanted to like say, you know what, like what a treat. You know, this is what's nice about like the unexpected things, you know, like sitting here being invited, your husband inviting me, Victoria, you know, like I have a deep appreciation for men that reach out to me for their partners. And there's very few, I could count on one hand in 10 years how many men have come to me and said, you know what, my wife's hurting and she needs help. Can you help me help her? And I'm like, I don't give a shit what anybody says about you. You're okay in my books.
Yes.
Right? You're looking out for your woman. You're okay in my book. Mad respect to you and for doing that for her. And so, like, you know, and those are the things I want to talk about, because I'm tired of talking about, you know, what we're not, you know, I'm just tired of it. Like, I can't, like, the narrative is like, I'm ready for the narrative. The narrative in me has changed. Put it that way. I'm not projecting that on other people, but I would like us to talk, you know, to be able to work through this and then like just blend it, because we are trauma and pain, and we are like beyond beautiful and blessed and like artistic and brilliant and like celestial, and we're just so damn deep and vast and like totally iconic that I've really come to appreciate what love was trying to be passed down to us. There was a real love that was trying to make its way to us, and we got it, you know. And so I just wanted to say that, you know, like I love you, you know, I love you. I love your stories. I love the way you've been able to connect with your babies, and I'm real proud, you know, like this is where I like to be. These are this is home for me. This is nice. It's safe. Like this is family. Right? And I need that. I need family. Like I need people around me that want my best interests and that aren't going to get insecure and aren't going to get jealous and aren't going to compare themselves, and you know what I mean, and not going to, like, it's just nice. Like I'm safe, you know. And that's really all I ever want to feel. I just want to feel safe with people, you know. So, you know, just thank you for all that, you know.
Yeah. No, I think I think for people who are listening out there, it's a good time to take a moment and think about your own gifts and center yourself and really revel in who you are and what is beautiful about yourself. Because I don't think people really do that. Like, be like, well, I'm kind of a big deal. And really, like, celebrate yourself. Because I know I don't do that. And everybody, like, I ran into a friend the other day, and she's like, oh, congratulations, I haven't seen you. And I'm like, about what? And I was just really kind of weirded out because I don't want to, and when I'm in this room with you, I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh God, how many times have we said doctor? Like, I just feel ridiculous. I know, and you're telling me stop, but I feel like my head's going to be this big and everybody in community is going to be like, Sarah's fucking full of herself. No, that's real.
Be full of yourself.
I know.
You worked hard.
I know, and so I'm saying it out loud. Like, it's okay for me to feel proud of myself. And it's also okay for people listening to feel proud of yourself and still be humble. But also celebrate yourself because you fucking deserve it.
Right.
And I need to do that too.
Right.
Because I'm sitting here feeling ashamed that I'm proud of myself and that you guys are proud of me too. And I shouldn't feel that way. And I think when we go and we're exposed right now, like, because we're going to be out there in the world and people are going to hear us, I think it's really important that we don't tear each other down, that people don't tear us down. And I'm sure people certainly will, but I don't know if they'll get to the end of this thing anyway. Because they're going to listen to 5 minutes of it and be like, those bitches. But
What do they know?
Yeah, right? I don't want to listen to them. But at the same time, like, I think it's a teachable moment where, like, I have to remind myself, like, it's okay to not be humble when you've actually done things that are amazing. Like, if you're ridiculous and you're not, but whatever. But I just feel like I have to keep reminding myself, like, I am accomplishing things, and it's okay to be proud because I'm making my family proud, I'm making my friends proud, I'm making my daughter proud, and I constantly downsize what I've done. Almost to the point where I haven't done it until somebody calls me Dr. Rourke.
See, and this is exactly why I said we're gonna do a segment where we're gonna talk about ourselves.
Oh, shoot.
Because I am all about where we're taught that
It all came
if
out.
we brag, we're full of ourselves. If we brag, we're showing off.
Yeah.
But you worked hard, and you worked hard, and you worked hard for everything that you are now. So why the hell are you not allowed to be bragging? Why the hell is bragging such a bad thing?
Yeah.
Why? You know, like, you put yourself in this position because you made the decision, I deserve better.
Yeah.
So show off. Because what you're doing is you're giving the person behind you or the person watching you the permission that I know her personally, and she's not a braggy person. She's not a show off. She's not a big head, but she's proud of herself. So I can do it too. We're so constantly running, trying to make sure that she's proud of me, and they're proud of me, and he's proud of me. But what about us being proud of us?
Yeah.
That should be coming first. We should have every chance in all the times to be able to brag about all the things in our life and not be worried about anybody's insecurity coming up and taking away from our thunder. Because your thunder is your thunder. I can't take it away from you, and you can't take away my thunder. Nobody can ever come along and take whatever it was that you learned and your skills and your knowledge. Nobody can take any of that away from you, right? So fucking brag, man. Share that shit. Because people need to know who you are. People need to know what you've been through. People need to know what you're offering. So we can build that connectivity. So we can build that sisterhood back up again. So we don't have to outsource. And we know community is right here in our backyard and who we can turn to and where those safe spaces are.
Yeah, and
I am like super passionate on that kind of stuff.
I
Sorry.
feel that. You know what? I'm like fully receiving all of that, Allie. I'm in agreement. I'm agreeing with her
I'm
too.
gonna be like, no, I'm gonna put the mirror in your face and I'm gonna be like, listen, you worked hard for what you are. own that shit, right? Own everything that makes up you as a person. Okay, go.
I like that. Well, actually, you know, the playing small is a trauma response for
It
us.
is.
Like, it's a
It
trauma
definitely
response.
is.
Like, that's our, you know, response to like oppressing ourselves, right? Because we never really get permission outside to say like, yeah, you can be big, bold, unique, different. It's like, no, you know what I mean? Like, you always feel that. And so like, just even like breaking the stigma and like verbally calling it out, and then us like owning it, you know what I mean? And just talking about projection and all that is like, is a real beautiful thing, because like, I don't want to set our kids up to fail either, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want them, like, I remember one time I went to a conference and this lady told me, she was from a hotline. She was like, you know, providing services. She said, I would never hire you. She says, because you're too young. And right away I was like gonna get defensive, right? Like, oh, what? So I'm young, I don't know nothing. Like, I'll use like older ladies. Like, you always treating us like we're not, you know, capable of like figuring anything out on our own or something, you know? And I was all ready to get defensive. And she said, you know why I wouldn't hire you? She says, because I know what this job's gonna do to you. Mm. And I know what it's gonna do to your kids. And I don't wanna do that to you. And that was the first time any woman like really like in a way showed me that your family is more valuable to me than you doing the work. And so when I hear that women went home and they went home to have babies, and they went and they put the work down and they went and contributed to another life that came from them, like, I'm like, that's exactly, like, that is the work. Like, that is the most important work you could ever try to create, because what you've just created, the community is going to benefit from, because you're a much healthier woman for doing that. And, you know, and I applaud all the women out there doing the nursing work, doing the shift work with the kids and the schools, and like probably, yeah, having to compensate for partners, because our men like to run when things get hard. They don't like to sit there and figure it out, you know, like, you know, they don't know how to lean in, you know, they just lean the hell back and like, you know, just kind of leave you to kind of figure it out sometimes, you know. And so like, and again, that's not like a projection on all men, like, you know what I mean? But it is a common trait that, you know, it seems to be like, you know, prevalent. So I don't know. But anyways, like, I just think that, you know what I mean? Like, everything that like it took for us to get here is great. And you know what, like, Allie, like, you know what? I'm gonna do something right now that I don't think like I've ever really done, but like, and I don't even know you like that, but I'm gonna ask for your help. I'm gonna ask for your help.
I'm like, wait, what?
I know, and you know what? I know. I was like, well, there's a bedroom right now. But I was like thinking to myself, you know what? Like, you're a really great cheerleader. You know, and I can see where Alun is like, you know, the man that he gets to be in the room because he's got a good wife at home. I'm sure keeping him in line and making sure that, you know, he feels powerful, you know, and that's nice. That's good to hear. That's, you know, not as common as we'd like it to be yet, but it's there. And I'm gonna open the door, and I'm just gonna say like, if there's any way that like you could keep cheering me on like that, always, you know, I'd really appreciate it. And I'd like to be like closer with you in that way, because that really helps. Like, that's your medicine. And like, I know that because I like to be a cheerleader too. And then when I meet another good cheerleader, I'm like, you know what, like, can you cheer me on too? Because like I really like the way that feels. And like, you know, and just you know, saying like, can you help me out like that? Because you know, we don't always do it. And that's like so simple, but I probably would think that and never tell you. I would probably leave here and say, you know what, that Allie's like a really great cheerleader, and I wish I had someone like that. So I'm not gonna miss the opportunity.
Good.
You know?
Good one. I'm glad you shared that with me. Yeah, definitely. We're definitely gonna have to connect somehow.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna go to the greenhouse.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna go to a greenhouse? Is
That's right.
Is that a dispensary?
It's an actual greenhouse.
Right?
Okay, just show them drinking. You
Me
know.
and Sarah were sitting here like, hello, we're here too.
The plants. We're gonna go see plants.
I'm up for that idea. Okay, so
I need plant advice later too.
right, I'm like,
For sure.
dude, she's the guru, and he's like,
Not even the guru,
It
but
was funny too because when I had that moment, I was legit sitting in my big unicorn inflatable, just relaxing in the pool by myself. I'm like, nobody's allowed to get in here because the kids get in there and it's all wild. Like, nobody can get in here for like 5 minutes, please. So they all chilled on the deck and they were all talking away and whatever, and I was just laying there. Dude, you know what? And I had to tell him all about when you were talking about plants, and I'm like, I'm not the only plant killer. And there's hope for me.
well, believe me, during this whole journey, I've killed plenty of plants, but I've also kept most of them alive. So
Oh man, it's so funny. He gets after me all the time. Remember that plant I bought you? I swear I wanted to keep it alive. But yeah, so this was super powerful, super passionate, because I know there's a fire and a passion in all of us. And it's just a matter of getting the opportunity to let it out. And it's also the opportunity and the permission that it's okay. And every single one of you opening up and being in that vulnerable state to the public is a big deal. It's a really big deal. And I feel like it almost piggybacks off of our last segment when we talked about the mental health behind it all. And this is our mental health. This is our opportunity to release and discuss and just be in a safe space where we can just laugh and talk and back and forth and, you know, and create connections that we never even thought was ever going to be there, because just like you said earlier, we didn't even really know each other. We all see each other on Facebook and wherever else and in the community and stuff, and we're like, hey, I know you, hey, I know you guys, hey, what's up? But we don't know our stories, right? And so this is like a baby or a flower that's growing, that's blooming into something bigger and more powerful, right? And there's so much passion just chilling at the table, just like doing their own thing, and then somebody's listening going, holy fuck, I want to go hang out with them.
Come through.
Yeah.
Come through.
So I really appreciate you guys opening up and sharing your stories, your journeys, your advice, your services, what you guys provide, what you guys can offer, and to remember the boundaries. Yes. Keep them boundaries up, because we need to keep ourselves good, because I see it on Facebook all the time. These are graphics that I always see. You can't pour from an empty cup. So fill up your damn cup and keep those boundaries.
Bubble up, bitches.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one. That one was good. And then cutting the ribbons, and that was a really good one too. So yeah. So this was good. I like it. Anybody have any last words?
I was just thinking we could, in the long run, we can start inviting guest speakers and start picking out topics. So we'll do that at some point.
Yeah, totally. We're totally gonna get. So we might be in your inbox. We gonna get in your box.
They're gonna like it.
No, I agree, Sarah. That's a really good idea to start incorporating other people in the community and the surrounding areas too. Like, we need community.
Yeah.
We need sisters. Okay. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, just agreeing with you, like, yep, we need sisters, we need camaraderie, and we have it. It's happening. We're just another fleck. We're just another, reflection of where women are at. You've had sisters. You've all had sisters. I don't know if you grew up with sisters, Alicia. Yeah, I didn't really grow up with sisters like that, but you know what? Like, having sisters today and choosing them and seeing them, like, just what a nice thing to witness. And so I just want to thank you for the sisterhood, sisters, and like keep on keeping on. And you know what? I don't know what the next conversation is going to be about, but I'm here for it. And, I think like bringing people on and getting more of that juicy conversation is really what's going to be the the orgasmic explosion for us.
Yes, so all of our listeners, keep on hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And there's more to come. So now you guys know that our stories, and we are all like freshly new people with amongst each other.
And then we're gonna get in your box.
We're coming for you. All right, now go everybody.
Now I'll go.
Okay.